Good morning, traders and investors. This is Joel Alconin of Benzinga's Pre-Market Info. Happy Veterans Day to you.
And happy Monday. What a great day, November 11th. My name is Brent. Let's check out some futures. S&P 500. What'd you say, Joe? Huh? Joel's giving me hand signals over
He's
here.
not, you forgot to ask me how I'm doing.
Ah, how you doing today? I'm sorry. How was your weekend?
Do you really care? No.
I re- I actually really care. I do really care.
Okay, I'm doing surprisingly well here this morning after such a disastrous weekend on the Michigan football field, and I'm even more grateful because when I get in here in the morning, Jake just has not been abusing me. He's really I don't know if he remembers or he just feels so sorry for me, and really I'm
I
doing
think
good.
I'm holding out, on pity here. And my team's doing well enough that I don't need to drag someone else down.
And I've also I'm making some big steps in Michigan football games. I a couple years ago I stopped crying at the games when they lose, so my wife is very happy about that.
That's that's a step forward for sure. All right. Well, I did like that intro, actually. You're right. Yeah. And I have to ask you how you're doing each morning.
And how was your weekend?
Um, it was great. Glad to be here with you boys though, and Dennis out there in internet land.
I'm out here, Brent.
Oh, there he is.
I'm here, and the
Woo!
futures are up 2 points. It's another actually pretty boring Monday. Not a lot of news headlines here, but we do have some stocks we're going to talk about, and we do have the futures that we're going to talk about here too. 1768.75 the high, 1762.75 the low. So we got a tidy 6 point range here. And Joel, so yeah, we know you're a little disappointed in the Michigan game, but what are you saying about the markets here this morning?
Well, I kind of had a feeling that I was going to get on and talk about the weak rally that we had on Friday. How some stocks just didn't participate. Was looking to see the spooks down 10 points, but of course that didn't happen. Just looking at a couple levels on the upside. Friday's high 68 even. We're hanging right here, and the only other big number on the upside is the all-time high is 1774.50.
Got gold and crude both trading slightly down here. It's just a broken record. Every time I come in every morning, crude's down 40 cents. Is that just what seems to happen? Are you noticing that trend too here, Joel?
Yeah, it is. It is starting to find some support, though, Dennis. I will say this 93 handle, for some reason, we've had multiple lows in the 93s. We got way down in the low 93s a couple days ago. Now just kind of hanging out here, multiple lows, 93.03, and then they moved up a little bit to 93.60, 93.90. So quiet ranges, trying to find a bottom here. I think you get a close under 94 here, and I'd really be worried about that low of the move getting taken out.
And what about gold? What's your technical thoughts here on that as we trade down about $4 here this morning?
Gonna look for another couple days of consolidation. What it always does, it has a move, sits there for 3 or 4 days, and then powers ahead or below. Now we've broken down below that $1,300 level, so a lot of people are stuck there. Haven't been able to rally over 1290. Coming back on the downside, I don't see any major support in this thing until a couple bottoms around 1270, 1268.60 on the 16th, and 73.70 on the 17th.
Now, Barron's saying this weekend some of these high flyers here are starting to lose steam. We've been saying that for about the last week and a half here. So I'm not sure if Barron's is listening to the pre-market info show here or not. But we are on some of these high flyers here. We've been looking at the charts. We've obviously seen Tesla here break down significantly here in the last four trading sessions, ever really since they reported here, down at 137. It is trading up $4 here this morning. But what's your thoughts here? Let's start with Tesla.
Well, if they're not listening to pre-market info, they certainly should because they'd be getting the best information and the
Oh,
earliest
shameless
information.
plug. Shameless
Yeah,
plug.
come.
There's no shame in that.
There's no shame in
Okay, kind of tough. It's shrugging it off, up $3.50 here. There has been a seller. I don't know if it's a male or female seller here, trader, out at 140, 150, and just kind of picking everybody off that comes in there. So that is going to be a minor resistance point. We like to keep an eye on those pre-market levels. Friday's high, we are trading above Friday's high, which is 140.60 here. So we stay above the 140 level, and Tesla might have a chance to take back some of these losses. I mean, if you look at it from the 194 cliff dive, down to 132, a little bit over a 60-point break. Oh, would love to see this thing float back up to 155, 160 here, and for a little bit lower risk short. But
Yeah.
for right now, it's trying to put a bottom in, trying to do a little retracement.
Yeah, eventually you're going to get some bottom pickers coming into this stuff, but I just don't know when that happens. Obviously, we saw the sell-off in Tesla here. I see this morning Morgan Stanley removing Google from its best ideas list, and it's trading down about $3 on that. Google has just been a slow, steady decline here in the last 7 or 8 trading sessions, so not as drastic, obviously, as the Tesla. Still holding above the critical $1,000 support level. But what's your thoughts here on Google today?
I tell you, out of all the weekly options I mess with, Google is the one. Maybe because it's $1,000 stock, it gets that wild movement. That's one that perhaps is a little bit easier to make some money in. I don't want to say this $1,000 level because that's too obvious. You had that low at 1,063, but look at your two lows here from Thursday and Friday. It's about as close as a double bottom you could get. 1,00764 and 0850. So call that whole '08 level major support. If it takes that out, I think it easily cracked the $1,000 level. And Dennis, don't you think they got to shake everybody out that bought this thing after earnings and bought it over 1,000? I mean, look at that gap in there staring you in the face. I mean,
Yeah.
can't they ring some people out in this thing?
That's usually like what they like to do. They like it to take it through those key numbers. They know they'll trigger some stops if they get this thing under 1,000. So I would look for something like that too. Maybe over the course of the next few days, the continued drift down. We're only $11 away from there now, so who knows? It could even see it today. But you get down there, you take out the 1,000, get down like 990 or something, trigger a bunch of stops, and then it all of a sudden will turn around and start probably rallying again. So I think that they might do the same thing as
But
well as actually take it through that number.
what about this food for thought here? Obviously, Google has totally maximized the advertising space. That's where they've made their money, and now supposedly the new kid on the block here, Twitter, is coming into their space. I mean, do you think that's going to be something that could finally take Google down? Someone finally being able to compete for the internet and mobile advertising?
I don't know. I see Twitter as kind of a different company too, though, because Google's like, like it's basically and like they come out here on Google, you're looking to search for something. You're going there looking to click stuff here. Twitter, you're looking for more news, where Google, you're looking to learn about something. So I see Google more as a library of information as opposed to Twitter, where you're looking, it's a social media. It breaks news very fast here. So I do see it kind of as a different space. I see Twitter more competing with the Facebooks, honestly, more than the Google. But regardless, though, Twitter, you got to give them props here. They've, obviously got a lot of following, now. And if they ever were to come out with something, and get the searching more involved in there, it could happen. But I don't know. I see Google as a different company, personally.
Morgan Stanley did downgrade the entire U.S. internet sector to inline. I haven't dug into that report, but I'll keep you guys updated as I'm looking at that.
Okay, thanks there, Brent. So I don't know. I'm still bullish Google. I'm still long into my investment account. I'm still think, short term here it's probably overdone, but
What's going
long
to get you
term,
to sell it, Dennis? I
I
mean,
don't
what's
know
it?
what's going to happen here on Google. Yeah, I'm long term on that thing right now. I still like it. I think that they basically have a monopoly on search still. I mean, Microsoft tried to come up with Bing. That's just been a disaster. And then, they were trying Bing it. It sounded like it would be a good name for a search engine. But Google has just got that thing mastered. Like you go on Google, you can ask it a question, it'll give you the exact answer you're looking for. I mean, how do you really like it's they've just built the structure of Google so well. It's
It's a
just the
verb.
search of
It's a verb. You
it
Google
is.
it. It is. It's a
It is.
verb, and you really can't Twitter it, can you? But you can Google it. Is that is that?
You tweet stuff. It's called verbification when a noun becomes an action verb.
And
Whoa, we're learning something here from
Joe, mighty
Joe's.
Joe,
Joe with the English degree.
Well, to be honest, to Google something was actually added to the dictionary, so that's a legitimate one. I don't know, Joe, has tweeting anything, has that been added? 'Cause I don't think that's a normal,
Well,
like,
I mean, like it's in the same realm with like Facebook me or tweet me.
right.
Um,
It's used, but it's not necessarily in the dictionary yet. It's not
I don't
that
think that
widespread.
Facebook or tweeting are in the dictionary, but like you said, Jake, to Google something is in the dictionary now as a verb.
Remember all those search engines we had back in the early 90s? Like, obviously, Yahoo
Shout out to
was a big one.
Dogpile.
You had, like, oh, Excite,
Alta
and you had
Vista.
Lycos, and you had all these different search engines, and they all went under. And then Google comes out, and you got to think, wow, just another search engine. They're probably not going to make it. But all they did, they didn't reinvent the wheel. They just made it better. They made the wheel, and obviously, they've taken over that whole space here and found a way to monetize in an awesome way. Made, and like you said, it's a verb now. So props to Google for everything that they've done. And they touch into so many other things too here. They're always doing different things. You get the Google car coming around, mapping everything. Like, they're smart people over there at Google, and I'm not going to bet against them. Not ready to bet against them long term. Short term, like I said, I think there might be 10, 15, 20 bucks on the downside here. But long term, I still like Google.
I think that Google should merge with Tesla, and they can have a car with a bunch of information that catches on fire. All
Yeah,
right.
that's probably why Tesla's trading up. There was no cars on fire this weekend, so.
What about some of these other high flyers like
Well, talk
Yelp?
about Twitter. You were talking about Twitter with Google.
Okay.
So, dude, what do you think of the Twitter chart here? Because I'm going to give you some props here, too. Joel came out, and you maybe should follow Joel on Twitter, because he came out there and he said 44.50. This thing is not seeing 45 today. Feel free to, sell it here. Is what he was basically saying in his Twitter account. So tweeting against Twitter there. I don't know if Twitter loved that on your tweet there, Joel, but you were right. You were right. The stock fell off $3 right after you tweeted that it wasn't going to see 45, and it never did.
Right, and I'm not gonna reveal my trick here of why I came out with that level. It's kind of weird when you put something out on Twitter like that. You're either gonna be right or you're either gonna be wrong, and
Yeah,
people
yeah,
are just they're vicious. They come at you, but
yeah. I know.
but now it's a new day. It's a new beginning. That Twitter call that you made on Friday is just something of the past here. So, looking at today's trading, traders got to keep an eye on that 4069 level. That was the low from Friday. Okay, so right now, that's the only support you have between that and 26, the IPO price. No. I take that back. You 40, Dennis, you'll call it 40 a psychological level.
I
Yeah,
will, because the options aren't out on it yet. You know how I love my whole numbers with my options. So, and there's no options yet. The options are coming, though. So when
okay.
those dollars become more relevant.
Joel's got this hilarious Dennis voice that he does when he's trying to act like you're talking Dennis.
Do the
He just
Dennis
goes a
voice.
little bit lower.
Oh, 40 is a psychological level. Okay, back to Twitter here.
Joel's got this great Darth Vader breathing thing, too.
Yeah, I'm not breathing today, Dennis.
Just while we're trashing each other on Monday morning.
4165, that's the close. You got to get back above that, and then once if you ever get back above that, then it could be like a scramble here, short cover and rally. If it did get back above the close, I'm looking for resistance in the 43 handle, and for right now, you Twitter bulls better be banking on this 4069 level holding up today.
Couple other ones, high flyers that are not flying so high lately. Solar City, like we were saying, that stock had an awesome October. Took off from about 33 bucks, broke out over 60, got up to 65.30 in 1 month, and in 4 trading sessions, it is now back at $50.
Right. Not going to be a happy Thanksgiving at the Musk House. Well, they probably have made so much money it doesn't make any difference, anyways. But these stocks are pulling back. You have a nice formation here. If you're a SCTY bull here, made a 47.72 low on Friday. That coincides with a 47.12 low back in October. So you're holding here. You are finding a level of support in the pre-market. SCTY has gotten a little bit of a pop over the $50 level. We got the 51.20. I'd use that only as a minor resistance point. And then once again, you're coming off the high here, 65 bucks, and you got down to 48. Maybe get a retracement back up into that gap area here to test the validity. But a pretty big down move for SCTY.
And you know what, though? Some of the other solar companies not really following the Solar City down move here. So you got First Solar still hanging out near the highs here, FSLR. You got like a Canadian Solar CSIQ, which is actually kissing up and making new highs here this morning. So despite the weakness in Solar City, some of these other solar companies not really following along.
Well, in Canada, they don't have many other alternatives for heat, besides like
And we need heat up
besides
here, all the igloos and the snow and
the
ice, and
the
it's
You
just
gu-
guys have
chaos
You guys
across the
have Tim
border here.
Hortons for heat, don't you?
the
That's why.
gulag.
That's why we love our Tim Hortons coffee. Keeps our hands warm. Don't double cup that. I need that heat.
All right. Looking at that, is that their new slogan? No. Looking at the First Solar here, couple levels, couple interesting formations here. You have a double top followed by a double top. 6101 and 6108, so that's your first resistance point, 50 cents away from that. And then another double top at 6238 to 45. So that's kind of an interesting formation here. Perhaps you get the $62.5 seller stepping down to 61 to get rid of his stock. Coming back on the downside here, we're well above Thursday's low at 57.57, but you get below that, and you could have like an SCTY kind of move on the downside.
While we're talking about the solar sector, JH3 in the chat room's asking, can you guys provide the daily dose of SUNE? Only a faint idea of where we go from here, and I sold my calls way too early. So
Uh-oh.
he's looking for help here on SUNE. This stock has just been on a tear too. It's 4 or 5 trading sessions goes $10, 12.70 here this morning. Where is this one heading, Joel?
Well, you had the November calls, JH3, so you were running out of a little bit of time on that. I looked at this thing. I didn't look at it on Friday. I looked at it early, and I didn't see much was going on. And then I just saw that it had this huge move here. Hopefully, you're still owning the stock here. 12.75. That was the high that you had on Friday. Kind of traded up near there in the pre-market, so use that as a resistance point. I actually got to 12.77 in the pre-market. I think you need to go out to a monthly here in order to get any kind of perspective on this chart. Now, when you look on a daily, it looks really, really bearish. But when you look on the monthly here, it looks really bullish here because you've had a huge decline from 2007. In order to find some resistance here going on the weekly chart or the monthly chart back in April of 2011, 1313. So you're running into another whole number here at 13. You had that high at 1313. So in order for me to confirm another leg up here, get over that $13 level and have a close. Dennis, you got any take on this stock?
Just funny how two people can look at the charts differently, because you were saying when you look on the daily, it looks very bearish because it's been running so hard, and when you look on the monthly, it looks bullish because it's sold off so much. You got that contrarian in you, Joel. He's always fading. He's looking to fade. And I'm always the momentum player, so it's funny how we have two different guys that do this show together and two different strategies. And I look at the exact opposite. I was like, well, when you put it in perspective, the stock still looks pretty crappy on that long-term chart, but on that daily, holy cow, it's hot, 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 hot. So
A little
funny
good
how we
cop,
look
bad
at that.
cop.
Yeah, that's it. That's why we have a market, so me and Joel can trade with each other. But I don't know what to say here. It's overextended for sure, but I mean we've saw moves get ridiculous. You can see stocks when they've got the momentum, it's hard to turn around. So you got to wait for some key reversal day where you make a double top or something before I'm going to get excited and try shorting this thing. But I hate shorting high flyers. I like shorting them when they're going down, not when they're going up. We got earnings. Go. Wake me up before you go. Remember that song?
I remember the Go-Go's.
The Go-Go's? That was a good 80s
Joe,
song.
can you weigh in on the Go-Go's there? You probably got one of their tunes in your like 8-track in your car.
Oh yeah, yeah. They still put 8 tracks in my 2013 Chrysler, right?
Ooh.
The sound
Um,
quality was better on those, wasn't it?
I did have an
Probably not.
8-track player once, and it was just abysmal because I had all of my dad's 8 tracks that had been sitting in his car in the Michigan heat, in the summers and stuff like that. It was just the worst thing I've ever heard.
Well, records are coming back, so maybe 8 tracks are going to come back there, Joel. Maybe there's hope for your 8 tracks there.
Well,
Stack 'em,
records records can survive the test of time, but an 8-track cannot because of the tape inside. Just like a VHS or a cassette tape or anything like that, it's just garbage basically after it's used once.
All right,
That's
after that digression here, we take a look at
go go.
go here and getting a big pop off the earnings in the pre-market 22.30. That's the high. Pull
Oh,
back slightly off that 22.06. I guess take a look at the. This is a pretty relatively new stock, huh?
yeah,
Yep.
this is yeah. So this is new all-time highs for it, and they did beat 22. They lost 22 cents. It's funny these companies beat, they lose money though. Lost 22 cents. Supposed to lose 31 cents. The revenue 85 million against 76.8 million. So being the top, being the bottom. Actually, I guess they're raising guidance here too. So saying everything right this morning, and the shares are up significantly here in the pre-market. 17%. Uh oh.
Yeah, there wasn't too many earnings today, but that was kind of the one of the good ones. Just to get that guidance, expecting fiscal year sales near the high end of the 325 million midpoint. Go had previously guided around 315 million.
Joel, are you there on the
Yeah,
technical?
I didn't hit the mute button. Come on, I'm here.
What do you
Sorry,
think? Where are we heading here? Tell us some levels here, because when it's at all-time highs, I have struggles with levels too.
yeah, and you know what? All I want to do is short this thing. So don't, no, this is my key if I'm looking like for something like this. I mean, you're having an extraordinary move here in the pre-market, up by 3.5 points. If you really have a penchant to sell the stock today, what you do is you wait to see where those prints are going off at 918, 925, 928, 929, when probably some of your real players, more active institutional players are getting queued up for the open. And if you open up at like 22.30, 22.40, and you don't immediately get that follow through up to the $23 level, then I would look at it as a short. Also, the other possible way to short it, because there's no way I'm going to buy it. I mean, it's going up. Would be if it opened at 22.30, went up to 22.60, had a quick 30-cent rally, and then came back down through the open. Then you'd use the open as your short price and use the high from the first bracket as your stopping point. So that's my two strategies, and I hope you understood them.
But if you don't want to be a contrarian like Joel and you actually are looking to buy these things on the breakouts, I'd wait. I think, it's hard to say because it can continue forever. But if you're looking for lower risk, obviously the old high 1980 back on the 26th of September. So I will go with the whole number theory here at 20 bucks. It's not probably going to see it, but you start getting down in the mid 20s. So if we were to pull back, and this is just an if, and I'm always looking and trying to set up different scenarios, then I think you start to find buyers as you start to approach and start to fill the earnings gap here. But this could just gap and go. That's a ticker symbol. It's go. So maybe it's going to
It's
be a gap
thin.
and go
It's
here.
thin too. I
It's
mean,
thin as hell. Like 91,000 shares only traded here this morning. So that's exactly right. And these things can go crazy too. That's why I hate shorting stocks when they're breaking out like this, especially at all-time highs, because who knows where it goes. So lots of go.
yeah, I traded a mill on Friday, which was now we've traded 1/10 of that here in the pre-market. But if you go back to the remainder of the week, it didn't even break the million mark. Traded between 5 and 600,000. So that 92,000 shares is significant volume for this issue.
And looking just, we can look in hindsight here on Friday, but you do see this happen quite a bit. It opened at the lows back on Friday there, just around 1711, and ran all day. So a lot of times these companies, people don't want to be short these things going to the earnings report, especially a newer company, and they might beat. And, obviously it's been kind of strong for the whole month of September, kind of consolidating in October. And it's sometimes you'll see these earnings run up. So sometimes if you're ahead of the game and you're looking at what's reporting, what's coming up and reporting, sometimes you can play these ahead of time. And if you were picking this up off the open on Friday, probably could have dumped it there and made a quick buck and a half just on the pre-earnings run. So they were leaning the right way, at least on Friday on this stock.
And we're talking about some of the high flyers here, perhaps coming back down to earth. I just wanted to alert our traders to this Facebook chart here. This thing is broken the support level that it needed to absolutely hold here. We're trading down 48 cents in the pre-market, Dennis. Come on, if I go to the daily here, even you can agree that major support has been broken here. You had all those lows at right around 47.50, and I was thinking with like 5 minutes to go of the day, I think, man, maybe they're gonna crush this thing into the close and take a flyer on the 47.50s, and it just didn't have the juice. The market was going up too much, but now you've broken that major support level at 47.30. Boy, what I'm hoping for is a bounce back up to 47.50, that old support point, new resistance here, and maybe taking a look at the short side or some puts.
It looks scary. It was sitting on a cliff and it's starting to fall off that cliff. Is there news, guys, on that? Like, what's the reason here? Facebook breaking down 50 cents here this morning. I'll try to hunt down too. I didn't see any headlines going by. Is this just a technical move here, or do we have anything that is breaking here on Facebook?
I am not seeing anything right now. Joel also just pointed out to me a big move in Procter and Gamble. Not seeing anything on that one either, but that one's also moving lower.
No, just an odd lot, I think, just traded on Procter Gamble, so I think it's okay. But let's move on to some of these other ones here too. RIG trading up significantly. Jake, Icon, a little news with
Yeah.
Icon and Rig.
Yeah, Icon's been kind of going after this one for a little while. What he did is he got them to agree to a $3 dividend that will be they're gonna at least vote on it, get it onto the ballot. But
Special dividend.
yeah, it's made a $3 special dividend. He's also got the re-election of Samuel Merksamer to the board, and also adding Vincent Intreri, I guess, two of his guys, and he's dropping the board down to 11 members. So making sure he's got two guys onto the board, lowering the numbers of votes on the board. So basically giving him more control of the company. And obviously one of Icon's favorite moves, either buybacks or dividends, to basically pay himself for buying the shares. So traders are liking it, though. I mean, I think they're excited at the prospect of getting that special dividend. So last time I looked, they were up about 3%. So Rig, kind of on the move there.
Technically, did get a pop up to 55 here in the pre-market. That stock got another boost. What was it, a week and a half or so ago when it was added to the S&P 500, if I remember correctly. So,
Been hot since.
yeah. So the people that are the funds that didn't buy it when they should have to put it in the S&P 500 are now in a world of hurt. Looking at the weekly chart, haven't traded above 54 since April of this year. You traded up to 54.22. Looking at the chart, mid-May here, you had a high at 55.79. But since we're talking about our good buddy Carl Icahn here, we might as well take a look at his little treasure of a stock here.
Oh man, it's just been unbelievable. I was looking at that over the weekend. Holy cow, IEP. That has just been on a ridiculous tear here for the last month. $80, 120. It's up 50% here in a month and a half.
Well, there's a call. Well, just I don't know. I mean, I just see zeros trading here, Dennis. Is that a little old odd lot from Pasadena or something on that? I don't even see. I see 112.
It is trading down here this morning. No, it's actually offered down. Well, 113.50 just ticked, but it's offered.
Oh, there you go.
13. So this super thin stock. You want to talk about thin stocks? What's the average volume on something like this? This is real thin.
The average volume on this is less than 1 million shares, right around the 500,000. Now, this down move also could be attributed, and don't quote me on this. I don't remember the whole Barron's article, but just saying book value on this is not anywhere near these vaulted levels. It might have been around 85 or 90. So yeah, book value. But hey, you know what you know what you can do with your book values. So that was a little negative piece here. I don't think it's something I'd go out and whoop up on the stock on a little Barron's piece like that. But coming on the downside here, if does get some momentum going, you are looking at yesterday's low at 113.02. So that is a support level. Below that, no support until you get down to 106. But I don't know if I'd fall in love with shorting this thing down $7.
Yeah, I don't know either, but All I can say is Icon has been hot and his stock has been hot too. It's funny though, it really didn't start taking off. He's been hot, and for the whole, last year really, and it's just been drifting higher. It's really just in the last month that the stock's gone parabolic here, and when it went from $85 and to kiss the high just 2 days ago up there at 124.66. So everything gets, it seems like it was kind of like the capitulatory move there, and then obviously 2 days ago we had the big sell-off there too. So I think you get up in the 120s again, you're probably going to find sellers. So people are going to be nervous here, and they're nervous here this morning with the stock trading down $7. Lots of upgrades, downgrades here actually today too. Eli Lilly downgrade to sell at Goldman Sachs this morning. Jake, did you have that Lilly report at all? Actually, just
Working on it right now. I don't have it in front of me. If you want to give me a
okay.
second, I can
Yeah, we'll
try
get
and grab
Jake to
it.
grab
I
that.
haven't dove into it yet.
I think they were actually lowering the price target only to $48, slapping a sell rating on Lilly here this morning, and it's trading right at $50 even. Seems like Lilly's always trading at $50 even, isn't it?
It's found a lot of support over the last 2, 4, 6 trading sessions at this critical $50 level. Now we're breaking below it, so no major support until you get down to the lower 49s, 48.97 and 49.22. Obviously, major resistance at this $51 level. But Dennis, I know you've been a long time holder of these Lilly shares, and I know you sold out a piece here on one of these runs. I believe it was around the 53 area.
Yeah.
But Goldman Sachs, a very respected company on Wall Street. Does this make you change your long-term outlook for Lilly, or are you just gonna shrug it off and buy more?
I've been in the stock for about 2 or 3 years. Like I said, I do my trading and I have my investment portfolio. This was actually the biggest holding in my investment portfolio for a long time. I had picked it up in the $35 area. Obviously, it run when I eventually got up to 53. It went from like 40 to like 53 in a few months. They were back in, I think it was like October of last year, so about a year ago. And I was like, I gotta lighten some of this up because this is just a little bit too much too fast. I'd actually picked it up in the 35 area more for the dividend. It was a 5.5% yield. I knew they had the Alzheimer's drug there too, kicking around as possibilities. So I was like, well, that's kind of a little lottery ticket at $35 too. And it got some pops back there, and that's still in the burner there. I don't know if that's ever going to come to market or not. But I'm not too scared here of the downgrade here. I think it's still got a 3.87% dividend. It's still a value play here. I don't think they're going to come in and smack this thing down and knock it down to $40 anytime soon. So long term, I'm still fine with it. But I'm interested to see why Goldman Sachs all of a sudden getting bearish the stock. So.
Yeah, I just dove into the report real quick. I obviously it was a very cursory look, but they're basically focusing on a lack of differentiation in the pipeline of coming products. They
Yeah.
kind of focused on a couple of the drugs that are coming, saying that Merck, Bristol Myers are basically already there's a lung cancer drug they have coming down the pipe that's very similar to those companies' drugs that are already approved. So a lot of their drugs are going to be facing competition. One of them is a diabetes drug that they said could face problems for reimbursements. Basically, they're saying the company just doesn't have new products that are really different than the competition out there, so it's gonna just have a hard time setting up reimbursements that are gonna make them any kind of heavy profit. I mean,
Right.
they're only saying there's a 5% return potential when they moved it to a sell, so it's not like they're getting wild and saying totally get rid of this or totally short it hard, but basically they're just saying that they don't
They're just not
exactly like
interested in it.
they like it where it is basically, and not any higher or maybe like slightly lower. That's roughly what they're saying.
Yeah, and when they lower the price target from 52 to 48, it doesn't sound like they're too seriously scared about anything either.
Nope.
It's only a $4 lower there, so maybe they're just not that interested in it right now. I still like the company long term. Short term, I think this has actually been quiet, and $50 a key swing number still on this thing too. I mean, it's trading here in the pre-market, quite a bit of volume at 50 again.
Let me just take a look at the pre-market levels for our traders that are interested in those parameters here. We are just off the lows here of the pre-market. Spotty trades here, but the low has been 49.91 here. So, or excuse me, 49.90. So let's keep an eye on that. Still, the $50 level has been providing support. So we'll see if there's maybe a big institutional bid to hold it there. off the open. Before we move on with Mighty Joe Young and the news this morning, I just wanted just to go over a few more stocks here in Barron's, Haynes Brands, and what they're saying is these companies are just flush with cash here. And when you're flush with cash, there's a lot of things that you can do to satisfy shareholders, and they're looking at these stocks as perhaps a few stocks that could benefit from their strong cash flow.
Which ones are they? Haynes Brands. Which are the other ones that
Haynes
Barron's mentioned?
Brands, IP, International Paper,
Yeah.
uh, Triple L, three level communications. But the one that I wanted to focus on technically here, and we talk about how sometimes the dogs are barking here. And you talk about a dog of dogs, and you talk about Xerox Corporation here. Kind of a stock that doesn't get a lot of coverage here on Wall Street. Has had a nice run up though over the last month or so here. It's come had a really bad day. Here's one of those days where you get just like the washout down day,
Yeah.
Dennis,
Yeah.
and then a stock like that makes a big percentage move, and then ever since it had that washout day to 955, just has had a steady climb up here to the 1040 level,
Yeah.
and now you have found a double, more than a double bottom. You had two lows at 1005, another one at 1004, and a couple up above that. So trading up 10 cents in the pre-market. I like that $10 level. If you want to, go down and risk down to the low of the move at, 955, you're not going to go broke. And then going above here, above 1040, 1041 is the recent high of the move. You can
Yeah.
start, and I think this thing pays like a halfway decent dividend too.
2.23%, so a little bit of a dividend there. I mean, this is one of your classics. This is like an Alcoa, all these companies that basically have done nothing here for the better part of a decade. So when they do get interest, they can start to move. I think I'd like to see this thing get above the 1050 area because down that big gap down day was, I don't know if that was earnings or what the reason was for, I think it might have been earnings actually. But when we had it about 15 sessions ago there, but the high that day was 1050. And before that, we were trading up really over 11. You had kind of, leaning down into that earnings report, if that's what it was. But I think if it got above 1050, maybe I get a little more interested. But I think it's going to open up here into that resistance. So that's the key number for me here this morning. It needs to get above 1050 for me to start sniffing around.
And I think one other thing that they mentioned from the cash flows, they were actually shoring up some of their business operations besides just selling, the equipment to people that they were, selling more, consulting services and stuff. So, a little bit of a change in their business model here. So, Dennis, you got any more stocks we need to
Yeah,
cover?
just a couple more here. Best Buy getting upgraded at UBS here this morning, and actually 2 days. In 2 days, the stock can go and look like it's breaking down and not looking good on the charts. To boom, all of a sudden, it's almost back up near the highs here again. The stock that never seems to die, at least in the last year. Best Buy flying up again. It's up another dollar here this morning on 39,000 shares, trading up 43 and a quarter.
Hit 43.47 in the pre-market, but looking at this stock, look at that $44 level here. You popped above it a couple times, 44.23 and 44.26. A couple other highs here, 44. So that's a major resistance area. Also, you got a nice double bottom, but quite a ways away from that. So if you're worried on the long side, if it gets below 41, closes below that double bottom 45, 40, 85, 87, you might have a little something to worry about. If you're looking to sell this thing into strength or looking for a continuation of this monster move, you got to get out and take out that seller in the 44 area.
Yeah, and
Breaking in
the
on that
open.
Best Buy real quick, guys.
Yep.
I actually just read over that report. It's actually a really kind of a weird report from UBS. It wasn't even focusing necessarily on like the core business, but rather all the statistics behind the business, like its PE multiple, saying that that's really gone up in the last year. That they expect estimates to rise to match the PE multiple, and that's why they think the stock price has a potential to rise. So they're basically saying that it's just going to be specific statistics coming out from the company that are going to get traders bullish, and not necessarily, oh, we like the story of this company turning around, or we like their new products or whatever. I don't know.
Valuation.
It's just kind of odd how they focused it. Not necessarily even saying it was a valuation play, but just saying they expect street estimates to rise in the company, which will then cause, obviously the stock price to rise. So I don't know, just kind of an odd angle. I haven't seen that in a report before.
44.26 and 44.23 identified a pretty good area there, Joel. That's the area. If that thing rally was to continue today, I think you're going to run into all kinds of trouble. But one thing I do want to say is you got 52,000 shares here offered in the book, the New York book, at 43. So that's going to be interesting. That's a pretty sizable order here off the bat. I wonder if that'll hold down the opening print here to see if this can open over 43 or not. Obviously, if the volume continues and it starts to really fly up, but we've only traded 39,000 shares here in the pre-market, so that's probably not enough volume to take out the 43. Obviously, though, if we bounce up and we're trading 300,000 shares by the 9:30 open, then it probably can open over 43.
Yeah, and interesting. I did mention that double bottom from Thursday and Friday, but I neglected to mention the double top here at 42.27 to 42.41. So you range traders in Best Buy probably had a pretty good day here on Friday. Keeping an eye, as Dennis said, on that big order in the book at 43. All right,
I know
Dennis, go
Joe,
ahead.
actually, just before we go to Joe, he wanted to talk about Tata Motors here this morning because multiple analysts, Namura downgrading it, CLSA downgrading it, HDFC Securities upgrading it. So TTM, I guess the other two have more weight because it's trading down here 80 cents here in the pre-market. What do you think of Tata?
Why did I put TATA in there as the symbol? I don't know here.
So why is that not TATA? It really shouldn't. Is a TATA even a stock? Probably not.
Dennis, I'll mention it to you when we get off the show. Okay.
Hey, watch it.
Okay, this stock battle of the analysts here. We are coming very close to support here. Two lows from Thursday and Friday, 29.65, 29.83. That coincides with the gap up area that you had in the stock going back to October. It had that low at 29.69. So there's a huge level for Tata. If it can't hold that, then we'll be trading back under the $29 level. Perhaps fill the gap to 28.47, and the low of that on that day was 28.41. And coming back on the upside, if this thing goes into the rally mode, gets anywhere into the upper 30s, you're going to be contending with a double top from 30.74 to 30.77. So that wraps up all the stocks here that are trading early in the pre-market. We are now going to move over to Mighty Joe Young with the news.
Well, thank you very much, Joel. Good morning, everybody. How are you doing today? I'd like to share with you some of the
We're
editorial.
good.
Oh, thanks, Brent. Thanks, Brent. There's one guy in the peanut gallery here today. Everyone else seems to be out to breakfast. So, today's editorial headlines from around the world. Officials estimate up to 10,000 people have died in the Philippines due to a typhoon. The storm has now made landfall North Vietnam near the Chinese border, but has weakened to just a tropical storm. One of the most powerful storms on record to make landfall, Haiyan, named Yolanda by Filipino authorities, barreled into eastern coastal provinces on Friday. It then headed west, sweeping through 6 central Philippine islands. This has wreaked havoc on the country's infrastructure as well as injured thousands more. Stock market rally following Obama re-election tested, according to Bloomberg. Barack Obama is enjoying one of the best stock markets for a re-elected president. Signs are building that it may not last. This year's 24% jump in the S&P 500 index is the third biggest annual rally after a president was returned to office since the 1930s, trailing Bill Clinton and Ronald Reagan, according to data compiled by Bloomberg. The index has climbed 108% since Obama became president, adding more than $10 trillion in equity market value. Panasonic says it is ready to spend $1 billion on new deals, according to a Bloomberg report. The company said it can afford a deal worth 100 billion yen or 1 billion US dollars as the maker of electric car batteries and solar panels looks to expand its automotive and housing businesses. Acquisitions could include adding a company that can advance its auto technology or an overseas marketing channel for its home-related unit. CFO Hideki Kawhi said on November 8th. Shubs puts these names in here and he doesn't spell them phonetically, so I apologize for butchering that.
It's
The
the
make
thought that counts.
It
He
is the
tried.
thought that counts. One day I'm going to have to actually bring him on the air to chastise him in front of everyone. The maker of parts for Tesla Motors electric vehicles last month announced a $460 million deal for a 90% stake in an Istanbul-based wiring device maker. The company is heading towards its first annual profit in 3 years. Big banks are considering blocking employees from computer chat rooms that have become pervasive tools of the modern trading floor, but which face mounting scrutiny from regulators as potential venues for collusion and market manipulation. JP Morgan and Credit Suisse are discussing internally whether to disable computerized chat rooms that electronically link traders across multiple banks and are used by tens of thousands of employees globally, according to people familiar with the discussions. Amazon is now going to offer Sunday deliveries according to a deal with the U.S. Postal Service. Amazon customers in New York and Los Angeles will be able to have their packages delivered on a Sunday, the online retailer announced. Amazon Prime customers who pay an annual $79 charge will now be eligible for free 2-day shipping on millions of items and can receive their packages on Sunday. The company announced on Monday that it has teamed up with the United States Postal Service and plans to roll the service out to a large portion of the U.S. in 2014 in areas including Dallas, Houston, New Orleans, and Phoenix. Automaker Nissan will begin selling its Infiniti lineup in Japan beginning in February for the first time, 24 years after the luxury brand was born in the U.S., as it takes on high-end automakers such as Daimler's Mercedes-Benz. The first model for sale in Japan, named Skyline, will be a hybrid version of Infiniti's flagship Q50 sedan, Nissan Chief Planning Officer Andy Palmer said at a briefing in Tokyo before the official introduction of the car today. Chrysler said it will be conducting 3 recalls affecting approximately 1.2 million trucks. The campaign's target an estimated 453,000 vehicles with steering system tie rods that may have misaligned during assembly or steering system service. The automaker said as many as 726,000 may not even need repair. Chrysler said that it is casting the net wider than necessary to identify those vehicles that require repair. Any found to have the suspect tie rod assemblies will have those components replaced at no cost to customers. Reports came in over the weekend that due to an administrative error, boxed retail versions of the Xbox One have been shipped 2 weeks before release to a small number of pre-order customers, revealing that the online systems for the console are up and running along with that day one, or in this case, day negative, good one, Shubs, patch. Target confirmed the error with a statement reading that due to a systems error, Target shipped a small number of video game consoles prior to the street date. The vast majority of pre-ordered consoles will be delivered in line with street date and according to the guest's originally selected shipping method. Apple is developing new iPhone designs, including bigger screens with curved glass and enhanced sensors that can detect different levels of pressure, said a person familiar with the plans. 2 models planned for release in the second half of 2014 would feature larger displays with glass that curves downward at the edges, said this person, declining to be identified because the details are not public. Sensors that can distinguish heavy or light touches on the screen may be incorporated into 2 subsequent models, the person said. With screens of 4.7 inches and 5.5 inches, the 2 new models would be Apple's largest iPhones, the person said, and would approach in size the 5.7-inch Galaxy Note 3 that Samsung debuted this September. Sandvine, a leading provider of intelligent broadband network solutions for fixed and mobile operators, today released its Internet Traffic Trends Report based on data from a selection of Sandvine's 250-plus service provider customers spanning North America, Europe, Middle East and Africa, Caribbean and Latin America, and the Asia Pacific. Sandvine's Global Internet Phenomena Report is published twice a year. For the first time ever, peer-to-peer file sharing has fallen below 10% of total traffic in North America, which is a stark difference from the 60% share it consumed 11 years ago, said Dave Caputo, CEO of Sandvine. Since 2009, on-demand entertainment has consumed more bandwidth than experience later applications like peer-to-peer file sharing, and we had projected it would inevitably dip below 10% of total traffic by 2015. It's happening much faster. This phenomena, combined with the related rise in video applications like Netflix and YouTube, underscores a big reason why Sandvine's business has grown beyond traffic management to new service creation, Caputo said. And today's trivia tidbit is Happy Veterans Day again, which means it has now been 95 years since the end of World War I. It was called Armistice Day until 1954, when the holiday was rededicated to be in honor of all American military, naval, and Air Force veterans. This also marks the birthday of one of the greatest U.S. military leaders, General George S. Patton, in 1885. Did anyone else know that it was Patton's birthday?
I did not actually. You ever seen the movie Patton?
Unfortunately,
Quite a
no.
character he was, honestly. Patton was, I don't know, interesting guy. Thanks for the update, Joe. I don't know if you have anything else you want to hammer out, but
I mean, we could talk about war movies, I suppose.
yeah.
Patton wasn't one of my favorites, but Full Metal Jacket,
Ooh, yeah.
Apocalypse Now,
Apocalypse Now, not almost like a
Platoon,
psychological thriller at that point rather than a war movie, but definitely a good one. One of my
uh,
favorites.
and of course Platoon.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And you didn't mention my favorite.
What was that?
Good Morning Vietnam.
Ooh, yeah, that was a
That's a
good
great one.
one.
Well,
Joe,
I mean, I guess we could talk about Forrest Gump too.
Joe, you're so old school. I was for sure thought you were gonna say Saving Private Ryan, but
You know what?
you're old school.
I've actually never seen Saving Private Ryan
Really?
or Pearl Harbor.
Well, you don't need to see Pearl Harbor, but Saving Private Ryan, wow, that's one you might want to get on that.
I will I'll look into it.
All right. Well, I figure I'll hit you guys up with a quick movers update before we hand it off to Brent for some ratings. Do have a couple stocks moving this morning as expected. Let's get started with an acquisition this morning. The headline was that Shire is going to acquire Viro Pharma for $50 per share in cash. So Shire, their ticker is Sandy Hotel Papa Golf, while VPHM is the ticker for Viro Pharma. That's Victor Papa Hotel Mike. VPHM is on the move this morning as expected. It's trading around, I'm seeing 49.39 is the last trade. So there is a little bit of a risk premium still sitting in there. It hit a high of 49.94 and has just been slowly trailing off since then. So keep an eye on that one. Looks like traders are not expecting this deal to go through 100%. That or they're pricing in some additional costs that haven't really been reflected yet. We did talk about GoGo this morning. Company did report earnings. Shares continue to rise. It bounced off 22.30. Last trade I'm seeing is at 21.15. That's a nice gain over its close on Friday of 18.83. So keep an eye on GoGo. That's Golf Oscar, Golf Oscar. ISRG, it's Intuitive Surgical, is also on the move. It's India's Sandy Romeo Golf. Company announced they're having more troubles with their Da Vinci robot. Basically, this is one of those companies, or not one of those companies. This is the company that allows surgeons to remotely perform surgeries. So they control the robot remotely. So basically, you could theoretically have a surgeon anywhere in the world. They've had some. Apparently, the FDA is reporting that the Da Vinci incidence of problems with the machine have doubled over last year. So there's a lot of worry on the street on that right now. Intuitive Surgical shares trades dropping down a little bit on that fairly thin volume though. Closed around, was at 389 or so on Friday, at 387.59. Keep an eye on that one. Intuitive Surgical does tend to move quite a bit, so one you may want to be watching. Best Buy.
Quick technical on this one, Jake. It kind of had a reversal day on Friday and got back up to the 390 level. Hadn't been up there since mid-October. The news is taking it down, but it's only taking it down 2.25 points. So I don't know if this is something that has been already leaked to the street here. It's still holding above that major support. You had multiple lows in this area at the 355 to 356 area. So the news is bad, but it's not that bad to take it down. Still, the major support. Wouldn't be worried about this thing really breaking down here until we took out the low of the move at 365.08.
Yeah, we do have a couple of other movers this morning, including Best Buy. Company did receive that upgrade on the valuation call from UBS. Stock hit a high of 43.47 this morning, seeing the last trade at 43.15. So holding up above that $43 level. Looks like volume is increasing a little bit right now as we get closer to the market open. A couple other stocks on the move this morning include Rig, which Transocean, which is the company Carl Icahn managed to make the deal with. It hit a high of 55 bucks exactly this morning. The pre-market has kind of come down from there. Shares at 54.69 currently, still quite a bit above Friday's close. So keep an eye on that. Twitter is also on the move this morning. Tango Whiskey, Tango Romeo. If you're not familiar with that ticker quite yet. Stock closed around, was that close on Friday, about 41.56. Last trade I'm seeing is at 41.25, gapped down right at the pre-market opening this morning, but has since recovered a little bit. Again, Twitter going to be another battleground today as shareholders still decide which way is going to be the route for this one.
Jake,
Was
one quick
Jake,
note on that one before Joe, you hop in there. 40.69, 40 Friday's low. We did hit 40.76 in the pre-market.
and I was just gonna say, was the battleground a pun intended based on our previous war headlines?
How could I not drop that one in there? We do have a couple of other things moving around out there right now that I'll give you guys a quick update on, and then I'll hand it back over to Brent. Let me get this all rolling here. We do have MDRX moving as well. That's Mike Delta Romeo X-ray. That's all scripts. Ticking down a very thin volume. It closed around 14.50 on Friday. It's at 14 bucks right now. It's just a single trade there. So keep an eye on that. It really dropped down heavily at the open on Friday. Recovered into the mid-afternoon. It looks like it's dropping once again. So keep an eye on all scripts there. Last one I want to take a look at is Devon Energy, DVN, Delta Victor, November. Company got featured in Barron's, said that it was undervalued by 25% in the article. The article focused on the company's new move to sell its offshore rigs and then repatriate that cash into the United States and focused more on highly lucrative crude oil businesses in the United States. Traders have been liking that one so far. We saw a high this morning of 61.93, closed just above 60 bucks on Friday. Last trade I'm seeing is at 61.60, so Devon Energy getting some strength there. Joel, I know you guys kind of went over that a little bit this morning. What do you think of this one? Really kind of came down the last couple of days. The most recent high I'm seeing is 66.92. It was about 10, 11 sessions ago. What do you think of this one?
I think we got a pretty bold call here by Barron's. I mean, you did get that big drop over the last few trading sessions. What I do like though is I do like the support level between 59.40 and 59.73. So if you're playing this as a swing trade, there you have an area where you would not like to see taken out. That low that you had in that 59.50 area, the stock also came down to that vicinity on October 11th before it had that major run up. Looking at the pre-market trading, not a lot of volume. You did get a pop up over the 61.80 level, the 61.93. That was just a little odd lot trade. Someone to paint the tape up here going into the open. If you're looking at this on the long side off the open, 61.49 was Thursday's high, so that would be resistance if you didn't have the pop in the pre-market. If it dips below that 61.50 area, you do have some air down to fill the gap. Yesterday's high at Friday's high at 60.56.
Another one I want to take a look at real quick before we hand it off is Rocket Fuel. It's a recent IPO about a couple months ago. Ticker is Foxtrot Uniform Echo Lima. Hit a high of 68 bucks. It was about 10 sessions ago and has just fallen ever since. On Friday they did have earnings and they missed estimates, fell as low as 37.81 on Friday, and they are now recovering. Last trade I'm seeing is at 39.50. Looks like they may be testing that $40 level, that psychological level there. Joel, I don't know if you've taken a look at this chart yet, but it just seems like, over the last group of sessions, it's just been a complete breakdown and finally getting a little bit of a relief rally now. Maybe traders are gonna bite on this one. I don't know.
What's the symbol again?
It's Fuel, Foxtrot Uniform Echo Lima. It's a fairly recent IPO. I mean, it's maybe been trading for a month or 2 months here. But I mean, it's really been breaking down from 68 bucks. I've hit a low, like I said, on Friday of 37.81, and now
Whew.
shares are recovering a little bit. Volume's starting to pick up a little bit, getting closer to that $40 level. Looks like we might get some action in that today.
Well, boy, I tell you, if you're trying to, catch a hot knife going through butter, here's a stock to play today. Straight down off the 65 level. One, two, three, four, five, six, like 12 down sessions in a row. Trading up in the pre-market. I guess if you're really going to bank on this one to rally here, 37.81. That was Friday's low. No, boy, this thing. I'm looking at the daily chart and it looks like a monthly chart here. Going up on the upside, had a couple lows between 44 and 45, so keep an eye on that area. Instead of hopping out, rushing to buy this one, I'd sure like to see it, maybe have a couple days of consolidation, hold that 37.81 low, maybe make a couple lows between that 37.81 and 39 or 40 and form a little bit of a base. But a lot of times when you see stocks have this kind of decline over 2 or 3 weeks, it doesn't turn around and go right back up.
Thanks for the deep dive there, Joel. I think with that, I'll pass it over to Brent if you're ready to rock and roll with the morning ratings summary.
Let's jam.
Woo! Let's do it.
Sweet. Top upgrades, downgrades, and don't forget about new coverage. Morgan Stanley upgrading shares of Energizer from equal weight to overweight. JP Morgan upgrading shares of BT from neutral to overweight. American Tower is getting an upgrade from neutral to buy at Citigroup. Mueller's Water, that's Mike Whiskey Alpha, getting an upgrade away from sell to neutral at Goldman Sachs. We did have the Best Buy upgrade from neutral to buy at UBS. And I know Dennis is going to like this one. Argus Research just upgraded shares of Exxon Mobil from hold to buy. Let me check the Exxon chart really quick. I see did hit a pre-market high of 93.05, traded up to 92.90 right now at last check. You you look like you want to hop
Yep,
in,
I'm
Joe.
gonna hop. I'm just kidding, looking for that mute button there. You had a couple highs last week. ExxonMobil 93.25 and 93.28. That's your resistance point. Haven't quite hit that in the pre-market, so let's keep an eye on that. If it continues to follow through on this Argus upgrade, those two highs there above 93. In fact, your pre-market high has just stopped short at 93.05 level. So let's see if traders use this opportunity on the upgrade to finish their selling here at that 93 and a quarter.
Top downgrades. We have Susquehanna downgrading shares of KLA 10 core. That is Kilo Lima Alpha Charlie from neutral to negative. We have also at Susquehanna Lamb Research Lima Romeo Charlie X-ray downgraded away from equivalent of a buy rating from positive to neutral. We did talk about an Eli Lilly downgrade at Goldman Sachs. They did slap the sell rating on Eli Lilly. We talked about that one a little bit earlier. Morgan Stanley downgrading shares of Immunogen from equal weight to underweight. Relatively quiet ratings day. Not a ton on the sell side out there. We did have a new neutral rating from Stern AG on Twitter. Let me check my Twitter ratings really quick. The sentiment is definitely bullish, but you do have that sell rating from Pivotal. You do have Stern AG initiating with the neutral this morning, and on Friday we had Wedbush's Michael Pachter initiating with the neutral. So not everyone's a bull out there on Twitter, but definitely the majority are. We also had a couple of new coverages on Burlington. That is Bravo Uniform Romeo Lima. We have equal weight rating at Morgan Stanley. We have a neutral rating at Goldman Sachs. JP Morgan and Bank of America taking the bull stance here. JP Morgan initiating with an overweight and $32 price target, and B of A initiating with a buy rating and $32 price target. Also have shares of Viva Systems, Victor, Echo, Echo, Victor, getting a couple of new ratings. We have Wells Fargo with an outperform. We have Canaccord, Genuity with a buy rating. And then we also have shares of Empire State Realty Trust. A couple of new issues we're talking about this morning. That one is Echo, Sandy, Romeo, Tango. KeyBank initiating with a buy. They are the bull there. Goldman Sachs and Stifel Nicholas initiating two neutral ratings on shares of Empire State Realty Trust. That'll do it for the top upgrades, downgrades, and new coverages. However, I'm going to give you some teasers for the week. Pretty quiet economic week until Friday. A number of economic data points coming out on Friday. We will see import price index, Empire manufacturing, industrial production, and wholesale inventories all on Friday. Leading up to Friday, we will have the weekly initial jobs claims on Thursday. Also, Thursday will be non-farm productivity. No data today, tomorrow, NFIB, small business optimism, and a reading in national activity from the Chicago Fed. Tune in tomorrow for an interview with Nicholas Shaheen. He will be talking credit spreads. I think that about covers it. Nope. Let me tease a couple of earnings. We didn't really have a ton of earnings today, but we do have a few tonight. We have Hologic reporting tonight. We have Inter Oil, Rackspace, and Sotheby's reporting, and then tomorrow morning we'll have Home Builder DR Horton, excuse me, Dendrion will be reporting tomorrow, and also Dish Networks. And then after the close tomorrow, heads up for the recent Momo traders, NQ Mobile getting earnings tomorrow after the close. Not sure how or if that will move the stock. It seems like that stock has really just been kind of moving on whatever the heck it wants to lately. But nonetheless, we will see an earnings report from NQ Mobile. I don't think you guys talked about NQ today, did you?
We could do a little NQ chat.
Yes.
Yeah, I know the big momentum stock here. I mean, it should be interesting to see they come out with earnings if they could do anything. It really the Muddy Waters report is really sticking. I mean, you have not gotten the rebound yet off the lows. Kind of they come out with good news and then it rallies a little bit, but what's really interesting about this chart, and here you're going into earnings here, is that this thing is stuck. I mean, look at the ranges that you've had in the last 2 days. Had a buck range on Friday and about a buck 40 range on Thursday. So what our traders need to keep an eye on here is the double top from Thursday and Friday, 1169 to 1174. Also, the last four highs have been in the 11 handle, the mid 11 handle. So you break above 1150 here, I think you could really get a nice pop up. Let's look. We're trading at 1163. Pre-market high here has been 1178. Now this is just just a speculation here, but you have all the bad news on Muddy Water. Comes out from Muddy Waters, and the stock gets absolutely pounded. And a lot of people are hopping on the short bandwagon here. Muddy Waters expecting this stock to get delisted. Brent, going into earnings here, let's say were you one of those people that hopped on the short bandwagon here, riding into the earnings. I mean, would you think you'd be tempted to cover a little bit, or do you think that the Muddy Waters report may come to fruition here and another dive for the stock?
I mean, I've always been on the side that thinks Muddy Waters kind of has their stuff together. I think Carson Black sort of knows what he's talking about in a lot of these cases. As to if the downside is in, I would probably want to be covering just a little bit. I mean, this is a huge range in the stock since that Muddy Waters report, a $5 plus range that the stock's been trading ever since dropping from around $22 before that Muddy Waters report. I'd probably be wanting to take just a little bit off the table on the short side.
Right, and that's what you have evidenced here in the pre-market. You are sneaking above those. I mean, last four. I mean, think about it. The way this stock's been trading since that report came out. I mean, you've had three lows within a buck and a half. 758 was the spike low. The closest low to that was 842 the following day. But not since you've had the news come out have you had four consecutive highs within 40 cents for this really volatile stock here. Now you have it trading up in the pre-market. So it'd just be interesting to see if you can get the follow through this 1170 level. Going into earnings, it's a wild card. Whatever other news they come out with, could have an impact on the stock. But if you're looking for potential breakout here, NQ Mobile may be the stock should take a look at off the open. Looking at some other stocks here that Brent had went over. Just do a quick technical here on KLAC, KLA 10 core. It's had a nice run up here. Taking a look at the stock from I can't remember if that was an upgrade or downgrade, but based that is down, I'd call it a downgrade. Coming up on the upside, if you do get anywhere back up in the upper 64s, you had 5 highs in a row between 64.62 and 64.85. So if you're looking for a little pop to sell into strength, that certainly is the area of resistance. Coming back on the downside here, multiple lows in the middle 63, 63.57 was your low on Tuesday. You go back a few more sessions from that, you had a low at 63.60. So if you're looking for this thing to, for support to hold, that's certainly the level 63.60. If that level doesn't hold, we may be trading under $63 here. You did have a low. You may even get under 62. You had a low at 61.75 on October 25th. Another stock that you mentioned in the upgrades and downgrades, LRCX, Lam Research. Take a look at that stock. Downgraded now through the $52 level. So that $52 had been providing major support here. You've had 3 lows at 52. Actually, we haven't gotten below 52 yet, folks. So we'll see if the downward pressure here. You got a 52.01 low in the pre-market. Looking at the $52 level, hit that twice last week, and you also bounced right off 52.05 on October 23rd, and you also bounced off 52.09 for October on October 11th. So 52, huge level here in Lam Research. If it breaks through 52, they might be calling it lame research because it might be going down to 51. Maybe going down to 51.26 is the next major support level.
I know you're gonna like these price targets. The Susquehanna analyst lowering the price target on Lamb Research from 63 to $60. So if you notice, the stock's trading at around 52 bucks. He still sees upside there, but he wants you to stay on the sidelines. And then on that last, what was the last one? I just forgot, Joel. Oh, Clack. Gotcha. Clack. So the analyst Susquehanna lowered the price target to 44 bucks. That is about 31% downside. Shares of Clack haven't been trading around that level since I got to go back to 2012 for this. Even further, maybe I'm still going back. Maybe even 2011. I see around 44 bucks. Late 2011.
Might need to go to the monthlies on that one. Let's do delve a little bit more into this Twitter chart here as things get interesting here. 13 minutes before the open, we talked about the support level from Friday's trading here at 40. We had a low on Friday at 40.69. Lo and behold, take a look at the pre-market trading here. 40.69 was your low on Friday. Looking at the pre-market trading, you've dipped down right to that area a couple times here. You actually got below it. You got to 40.56 here, but you are getting a bounce. Got back over the $41 level. So if you're looking for a potential long here or to cover short, we're definitely identifying the 40.60 area in Twitter. Coming back on the upside, you know there's going to be some crazy two-way action in this thing, just the way it was on Friday. But you've had a pre-market and after-hours high. This stock has not been able, in the after-hours on Friday, it got up to 41.84. Now we're a buck away from that. I would keep the close 41.65. Second all-time highest close, and I guess it's the second all-time lowest close too. But the mark 41.65. Perhaps some people that got that stock at a juicy premium on the IPO here at 26 might be targeting Friday's close 41.65 as a potential exit point. We were talking about Facebook here. breaking through that major support at the 47.30 area, continuing its decline in the pre-market. Though finding support here, a bunch of lows here, 46.84, 46.85. We're only a few cents away from that though, but that has stood up as the low basically over the last hour or so. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Just running, a couple of the big guns. I mean, what's a show if you don't talk about Apple, right? Everyone loves their Apple. Kids, if you haven't gone to school yet today, bring an apple to your teacher. Looking at this chart, it's been kind of quiet over the last few days here. Really quite trading. Quiet trading ranges in Apple. They really couldn't bust it either way off the earnings. So we're keeping an eye on this consolidation period. Major support at 512, 38.59. That was your double bottom from Thursday and Friday. And then, the three lower highs in a row, I'd call 525 your resistance area. That was your high on Wednesday. So still trading in a tight range here between, 512 and 525. We'll see if we could get a resolution, some kind of breakout in that issue. Moving on to another stock, we mentioned the upgrade from Argus Research on XOM. So you got, if you're watching XOM, maybe you're a pair trader here, keep an eye on this $122 level in Chevron Corporation. Got up there right before earnings, made a double top at 121. 96 and 122.01. Had the unsatisfactory earnings report, came off hard off that, but rallied right back into the 121 handle. Got to 121.88 on Thursday. So major resistance 122 for Chevron Corporation. Coming back on the downside, do have a double bottom at the 119.42 to 119.58 area. If there's any issues that you'd like us to take a look at, besides Suntech Edison in the chat room, we'd love to answer any questions or see if we can dig up some news on your issue. We were talking a lot about leaders and laggards last week, and the laggard of laggards always has a hard time with Alcoa, but Alcoa is trying to hold the $9 level. Rallied along with the rest of the market on Friday. Took out Thursday's low 888, but only got to 878, and then closed back over the $9 level. You're trading above Monday's high at 908, so perhaps Alcoa hang in here a couple closes above the $9 level, and this might be one of the stocks that will be rallying into the end of the year. Also, if we're talking about potential dogs rallying, we gotta mention J.C. Penney here. That stock did have some favorable news coming out. I believe it was on same store comps, whatever, last week. Dipped under the $8 level, but I want our traders to be alerted here. Last three highs between 827 and 835. We're trading up against that level here in the pre-market. You've gotten to 835. Don't call it a breakout until you can clear the 840 level, and then you have the high of this recent move at 871. So maybe we'll have to get Mr. Sazi here to give us his evaluation later in the week on the recent rally here in J.C. Penney, if you can call it that.
Yeah, that same store sales data was out on Thursday. The stock closed 6% higher, about 5.5% on Thursday, and then added another percent on Friday. Might just be a little continuation this week. I did see a number of touches at 825 on Friday. Does that sound right, Joel? 825-ish?
You did get up. You had three highs between 827 and 835 in JCPenney, the last three trading sessions. You are bumping up against that in the pre-market. So could get it if it holds above this 835 level. Could see a trade up to the high of the move here at 875. I just want to take a look here. I know we don't talk about commodities much here, but been following this coffee market along with Joe. Joe likes to drink a lot of coffee here, and it that you talk about a downtrend in a major commodity for a long period of time. Here we could go to the monthlies in this contract. This thing was over 300 and now came back, got nearly to 100. Now, the reason I'm bringing it up here is it's trading up 510 in the pre-market here. I don't know, probably some kind of report that that came out to make this spike higher. So we'll be keeping an eye on coffee futures over here for the next couple days. You do get a move off a low there, so it may be something if you're looking at to speculate a little bit in something different here. Coffee here making a multi-year low, getting a bounce off it. Actually, kind of started to move up a little bit over the last few trading sessions, but we'll keep an eye on that one. Looks like the 110 level, 110.35 was a high on October 31st, so that could be a potential resistance level here in coffee futures. Taking a look here, and Dennis pointed this out to me on Friday when the market was coming off the lows. And just, boy, I wish we could play the tape. How about Adam Button on Friday when we had on during that interview and that unemployment data came out and they were just whacking the market, and Adam was like, this report doesn't look that bad to me. I mean, I don't, this kind of looks like a short-lived break, and the market turned around. I know Dennis took advantage of that and was able to have some good trades on it. But pretty impressive call there. We'll have to get at him again, perhaps when we have the next unemployment data.
Make it a regular thing, shall we?
He was good. He was a good interview.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then just talking about these financials that rallied, what an uncharacteristic move for Wells Fargo. Made a double bottom at 41.71 and then rallied over a buck. A huge move for that. And then where does it get back to? It gets right back to that $43 level. Got to 42.96 on Friday. We have been talking about institutions just selling at that $43 level. You did get the break, but very uncharacteristic move here for Wells Fargo. If you don't get a follow through that $43 level today here, you could be looking to go back and perhaps trade under 42. Looking at coming out of the chat room here, what's up with RT-2 EXC? I think he's asking about EXC stock here. Let me take a look at it, see if we got. Oh, I remember this stock. This is a utility here. It had a bad day on Friday. What I tell you on Friday, I know the stock pays a pretty high dividend, and for some reason they were just worried about the interest rate scenario. Any stocks with yield, they were just whacking on Friday, and this is one of the some of the other utilities got hit as well. Looking at this stock, you got down to 27.73, but we're able to recover right near back the high of the day. You settled 4 cents off the low of the day, so you need follow through that 28.50 level. If not, you could come back down, test the support. 27.73 was low on Friday, and then also you had multiple lows between 27.58 and 27.65. So looking for some follow through here through Friday's high 28.38. And you also mentioned GE, and that stock has been in an incredible run here. Has closed over the $27 level. Closed since first close over 27, probably since 2007, 2008. Let me see if I can go to a longer term chart. Yeah, has not closed above 27 since you go back to September of 2008. Looking at the daily charts, General Electric, 26, settled a penny off the high of the day. You do have Thursday's high at 27.19, so that's your first resistance point. If it gets up there and just hangs and doesn't blow through 27.19, then you may get a little bit of a pullback under 27. Friday's low seems like a ways away though, 26.40. Thursday's low was 26.50.
Joel, that was some great analysis on Exelon. I think that DJ was talking about two execs at Ruby Tuesday resigning in 1 week. Does that make more sense?
Oh boy, did
Oh,
I?
that's what I'm saying. It was
You
great analysis on Exelon.
Yeah, well, you know what it is? It's these young kids here, and you can, interpret all those like letters and, Twitter like stuff. I see that to me. I'm like, I see a stock symbol there, EXC, and I start talking about it here. Ruby, okay. All right, DJ. Thanks for. See, DJ didn't beat me up about it, but you did here.
What? I didn't beat you up about it. Come on.
Ruby Tuesday here. Two execs. Maybe it's because they don't. They're like me and they don't like the food there. But anyways, $6 levels huge. Broke below it on Friday, but closed above it here. So I think Ruby Tuesday needs to hold the $6 level.
It was at the end of October that both the chair and CEO stepped down, and then a couple of downgrades following. One by B. Riley and Co., and then one on Moody's, a credit rating downgrade, and also seen some comments out of firm Michelle saying that bad same store sales. I mean, it looks just like a heck of a time Ruby Tuesday Bulls got going for them right now. A little uncertainty.
Okay. All right, let's take a look at Twitter. Friday's low. See ya. We're down through Friday's low of 40.69. Now heading towards the $40 level. Like we said, Dennis will call that psychological support. But really, I think the only person to be buying Twitter here at 40 is to cover short here at a round number. But we are approaching that level. If we do get a Twitter rally here on the upside, a minor resistance will be at Friday's low 40.69. S&P's out of the gate here. We did trade above Friday's high in the pre-market. We took that out by 75 cents, but we are getting some early weakness here in the S&P 500 futures. What we'll be keeping an eye on is our first objective on the downside. If we can get there, it'll be the pre-market low here of 62.75. We're still $2.50 away from that, so a little bit of initial selling pressure here in the S&P futures. Uh, JC Penney, we had talked about the major resistance at the 835 level. So far in the session, we have cleared 835. I'm now trading at 840. So I'd like to keep an eye, stay above 835 here. Perhaps make a run at that 871, which was the recent high of the move here. That upgrade in ExxonMobil failed to take it over the $93 level. We had talked about the major resistance, a double top at 93 and a quarter and 93.28. So we'll see if it can get back up to that area later in the day. Also, just want to take a look to see how Best Buy opened here. An upgrade. I can't. I think it was Morgan Stanley or whatever. But Dennis made a point. There was an institutional seller at $43. Well, he got taken out at the opening price of 43.44. Notice here it opened at the high here, kind of been selling off. So we'll see if that 43.44 level can hold up. Going to the daily charts, major resistance up at the $44 level in just above 44, double top at 43.23 to 44.26. Twitter under 40, hit that 39.99 level, getting a little bit of a bounce here, so we'll be using that Friday's low 40.69 is a possible resistance point. Taking a look at some other issues here. Tesla, uh, negative article in Barron's, trading up in the pre-market. Someone had an opinion here at 141.50. They just would not let that thing over 141.50. Not even getting near that in the pre-market here. So if you're out there selling Tesla in the pre-market, good job there. At the mark, at the close here, 138 even, 137.95 close. So little battleground here at unchanged in Tesla. S&P futures continuing lower here, not getting immediately followed through Friday's high. I just want to note the trading activity from Thursday and Friday. Thursday we had a big decline, really from the 1770 handle all the way down to the 1740s. Then you had the reverse action on the upside on Friday. So in a bit of a vacuum area here in the 1760, 1750 handle. So be careful here if you take out that pre-market low of 1762, 75. Shares of NQ Mobile announcing earnings tonight. We had talked about all those stupid highs in the 1150, 1160 area. We have taken those out. We are moving higher here in the session. We have made a high at 1192, so perhaps getting a little short cover here before the earnings announcement. The stock has been more in the news than I'm sure the company would like to be. Taking a look at shares of Alcoa, we're talking about one of the potential laggards being a leader next year. Alcoa back over the $8 level or $9 level, following through right off the open. J.C. Penney also moving higher here up to 847. I believe ahead of that 871 high in shares of J.C. Penney, you did have a high at 859. So another dime here, potential resistance here in J.C. Penney. S&Ps battled back to unchanged here, unable to challenge that pre-market low. So minor resistance here at unchanged 1766, and then that overhead resistance, Friday's high 1768, and that's backed up by the pre-market high of 68.75.
Joel, check out the move in Netflix. Stack open about $2-3 lower now, kind of accelerating. I see down about $5 this morning.
Let's pull that up. I haven't taken a look at that in a while.
Morgan Stanley had a call on the U.S. internet sector earlier. They downgraded the entire sector. It was basically a valuation call. I'm looking at the note right now. At the bottom of the note, they say, "Stick to." Where did it go? We favor large cap bellwether names: Priceline, eBay, Google, Amazon, LinkedIn, Facebook, Groupon, Pandora. Leaving out Netflix from there.
Okay, so kind of uh, guilt by being admitted there. They're not being targeted as a potential value stock. Did open lower. We are now trading off the lows here. 328.62 was the low. I'd like our traders to be alerted if the stock declines farther. You had two lows between 325.16 and 25.52. So that's going to be your major support. If the decline continues, coming back on the upside, a lot of error once you get up to the intraday high at 333.99. Talked about the financials and a very uncharacteristic move for Wells Fargo on Friday. Just rocketed right off the open. Got back up to that resistance at the $43 level. Hit 42.96 here. Open flat, selling off a little bit. So not getting the follow through on the financials here. Twitter, we did get a spike up to 40.88 here. Let's see when it did actually trade that open to 40.50. So maybe that wasn't a spike. Maybe it did that right off the open here. No, that's done that in the regular session. We did get 20 cents above Friday's low. So targeting that whole 40.69. Now the current high 40.88. The resistance on a rebound here.
I've been watching the chart over just the last couple minutes. It really looks like it wants to hold 40. I seen one touch at 40. It was trading down to 40.05, 40.03, 40.01. It looks like it kind of bounced off 40 now around 40.15.
Like I said, 40 might be a good place to cover a short. I don't know if I'd be sticking my neck out long here since, like I said, the next support level is 26, right? That's where the thing was
Look out
supposed.
below.
Uh, Interesting in Google here. Did get taken off like the best ideas ever list. I'm not sure who did that, but the break did take it down. We had talked about Thursdays and Fridays lows at 0764 and 00850. Someone else can read a chart too. You split that. 008 is the low. So if that area holds up here for for the rest of the session there, you'll have a major support level to keep an eye on, an area to try a potential long, or if you're looking to short on weakness, that would be the area to take a look at in the Googster. I did notice shares of J&J, Johnson and Johnson, did make an all-time high here. The former all-time high in J&J, I believe, was 94. Let's see what that former all-time high was. Yeah, former all-time high was 94.39. Johnson and Johnson has hit 94.40 in the regular session, buffeted by a round number there, 94.50. So potential resistance here in shares of Johnson and Johnson. Following up here on the J.C. Penney rally here, we are now up 35 cents. Got that breakout off the 835 level. J.C. Penney now trading exactly at the high that you had on November 5th at 859. So keep an eye 859 here up to the high on the 4th at 871. If you're doing a shorter term trade here in shares of J.C. Penney, please keep an eye on that resistance area. Did see ExxonMobil did recover back over the 90 from the low, got close to 93 here. Uh, Really the major resistance up at 93.25, 93.28. Say goodbye to 40 in Twitter. Oh no, we're now.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
39.59. Definitely plunged through that level.
Yep, 39.50 low here. So, and now you just think about how far that stock is away from that opening price. I put out a note to some of my traders this morning that, unless this thing gets back to that $45 level, you may have a Facebook like scenario on your hands for the IPO but Facebook ended up. Remember, its initial points was like between 27 and 30. They jacked it up 38.42. Came down through the initial IPO target price 27 to 30. Went another $10 below that before bottoming here. So if you go $10 below that initial IPO range here for Twitter at 26, maybe it'll be a buy at 16.
Wow.
All
Sticking your
right.
neck out.
Now, you see, if Dennis was on, he'd be ripping me on this, but getting a little carried away. But no,
I'm sure he'll get his jabs in tomorrow morning. He's
no.
he's I can see him at his desk right now. He's writing stuff down. He's like, ah, yeah.
Taking his notes for tomorrow here. Also, I'll just finishing up on this J.C. Penney rally here, up now 39 cents, approaching that 871 high that you had on November 4th. So another 7 cents away here from that multi-week high. I mean, J.C. Penney hasn't traded. In the 9 handle, you got to go back until October, or excuse me, September. September 30th, you had a 919 high, and you had a 909 high on October 1st. So J.C. Penney here making a run at the $9 handle. Finishing up with the S&Ps here. Got too excited perhaps on the sell-off that we had this morning off the open. Didn't even get close to the pre-market low at 62.75. We're now closer to the pre-market high of 68.75. That coincides with Friday's high at 68 even. and then getting back up into the major resistance up in the 1770 handle. Well, that's our show for today on this Monday, Veterans Day. I'd like to just give a shout out to all our veterans out there that did their time serving our country, and we will be back with you tomorrow.